This is the one we've been waiting for. Schneider's back in town, and Mike Gillis is on the air with us this morning. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Anything going on today?
No, just another game.
Just another day.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a bittersweet return, or is it just another game?
For me, I mean, it's an interesting game because of the sidebar, but it's just another game that we have to win.
I do want to talk about the trade, when it shook down. Walk me through it. How exactly did this come down?
Well, we were in the midst of a number of trade discussions at the draft with a variety of possibilities, which you always are, and we were asked about Corey and whether he would be available by a few teams, and we began to listen to those types of discussions, and at the end of the day, realized that we had to clear up. We couldn't go into this season again with the distraction of two goalies, particularly not in this town, and it was a never-ending cycle of who the number one was and who the number two was, and it didn't seem the coaches were capable of making a valid decision in the eyes of many. So we felt with the new coaching staff we had to clean up the issue, and that became the best opportunity we had to do it.
So you get the deal done, and then you have to sit on it because New Jersey does not want that to be released because it would kill the draft, which is in New Jersey. How tough was it to sit on that, 48, 72 hours?
Well, it wasn't that long, Dave.
Okay.
It was really the night before the draft.
Okay.
And, there are some things that you have to do when you trade a player, which include a trade call, and the league has to go through the contracts with you to ensure that no one is getting something that they don't bargain for. So, notwithstanding the fact that we had agreed to the terms late the evening before, it couldn't be enacted upon until the following day anyway. So, it really wasn't that long a time frame. It wasn't difficult to do.
But it was early enough that you had the owner, Francesco Aquilini, fly down to Florida. Walk me through, which had to be the weirdest 24 hours of your life.
Well, it was different, but it's like anything. You have to react to the circumstances that are in front of you, and in this situation, we had a changing landscape because of a variety of reasons that impacted on what we were doing and our ability to do it. We had a lockout, which interrupted things. We had a no-trade clause. We had teams that were trying to use the media against us in a lot of different ways. We had two really good goalies, and we took our time to try and sort through what was best for this organization. At the end of the day, we concluded that ensuring that we only had one true number one and a younger goalie that was being groomed was the best situation we could be in. We have that now. Eddie Lack has proven to be a solid NHL goalie, or he sure looks like it, and he's got all the attributes. So we're back in a situation we were in a few years ago, which worked very well for us.
Let's talk a little Tortorella now. He was perceived as a low-scoring, defensive-minded coach coming out of New York. His team, your team already, 12 goals, 3 games. Has he made any significant adjustments to his coaching style this season, or are the goals more of a product of this offensive-minded players like the Sedins playing in the new system?
I think the goals are a product of hard work, and John's system is one of high pressure on the puck, which so far seems to suit our guys pretty well. I mean, our first game against San Jose, if Alex hits the post, if that goes in, they don't come down and score their goal. It might have been a very different game. We thought we played pretty well, and for most of that game, second game was a solid game, and the third game in 4 nights with travel in between and a time change, we knew was going to be one of our toughest turnarounds this season, and it happened in the third game of the season. So without a lot of energy, our guys still managed to score goals, and we got it from some secondary goal-scoring guys that are we're hopeful are going to step up. Brad Richardson and Mike Santarelli played great, and that's what they need to do to continue playing regularly and continue contributing. So I think the goal scoring is a product of a pretty good offensive team that's using a high-pressure offensive forecheck to turn over pucks and create opportunities.
Tortorella made some comments about nailing down Zach Kassian's conditioning during his suspension. What's he been up to since the incident?
Well, that was taken out of context to some measure. Zach was
Really?
in here in great shape. And what John was really talking about was working on elements of his game, watching video, not his physical conditioning more than just using the time frame to be really well prepared. He came in here in great shape, so it wasn't a conditioning thing, and that kind of, I don't know where that actually came from, whether it was a misuse of words or whatever. But Zach was in great shape, and he's worked very hard over the last couple of weeks. He's working on a lot of skill stuff, working on a lot of physical stuff, and he's eager to get going.
Mike, how different does this team look when you've got both Burrows and Kassian in the lineup?
Well, it gives us a lot of options, and I really like the speed that we have on this team now. You could see it the other night when our guys got some energy back in the third period on loose pucks. I mean, we were beating a team, again, third game in 4 nights with travel and stuff in between. We were beating them to loose pucks in the third all over the rink. So it's important.
Can I talk a little bit about the Sedins here? What's going on with the contract?
Dave, we don't talk about contracts.
Yeah, but I have to ask that. So what can you tell us?
What can we tell you? Well, we can tell you that we want to have them here. They want to be here. There is some degree of uncertainty about where the cap is going for next year and the years beyond that. And we've had great discussions with them. We're fully confident that we'll come to an arrangement once we all have a better idea of what the landscape's going to be moving forward. They've worked with us in the past so that we had opportunities to go and sign other players, and we spend to the cap every year. As you know, this year we have some leeway for the first time, but our commitment is that if there's space available, that we're going to try and use it as best we can. So really it's a function of just ensuring that they get compensated as well as we can possibly compensate them while we have an opportunity to continue to try and win.
Mike, are you confident that you can get a deal done during the regular season?
We'll see what happens, Dave, but I have no unease about this situation. They're great guys. They're leaders on our team. I'm not anxious about it in any respect. I don't think they are. I think we just need to work out the details as we move along here with a better understanding of what we're facing down the road.
I don't want to get past the New Jersey game, but how much would you love to go and kick San Jose's ass?
Well, we've had San Jose's got a good team. Yeah. We've had a tough time with them.
Yeah.
But a couple of years we didn't have a tough time with them. And, I think that we're two very good teams. I don't tend to look back. I look forward. And, I think that as the system here takes hold and as our guys get more familiar with it, I think that we're going to be two teams that will be fighting it out right till the end of the season into the playoffs. And, it's not to be unexpected.
Mike Santarelli has shown some really good flashes early on. Tops in fitness, training camp, scores 2 goals against Calgary the other night. Was he someone your scouts were looking at, or did he just come to camp and like Jeff Tambellini did back in 2010? Was he one of those guys that just kind of just went in there and said, I'm gonna make this happen?
Well, he's a guy that we have been tracking for a couple of years. He had a really good season with David Booth a couple of years ago in Florida and kind of got lost there for some reason. We're not sure why. We looked at him last year when he was traded to Winnipeg. And, we felt with a fresh start that he would have a chance to come in and make our team if he was really well prepared. And he came in as well prepared as he could have been. He was in excellent shape. His speed looks like it's back to where it was. And he's hard on the puck, and he's hard to play against. And we were looking for versatility, both from he and Brad. Guys that could play all three forward positions, could play them all in one game if necessary. And we wanted that versatility in the bottom six roles of some guys. And then we were going to let them fight it out to see who was going to be on the team. And Mike Santorelli came in here. He had a great camp. Like I said, he was well prepared. And he's getting the benefits of that now. And I talked to John after the game in Calgary, and he said it's hard to keep this guy off the ice. He's competing, and he's doing what he has to do, and he's hard on the puck. So if he continues to do that, he'll be a big contributor for us.
Mike, one final question for me, and that has to do with this 7-game road trip that's coming around the corner here. 11 days, 2 back-to-back games. Are you going to know a whole lot more about your team when this thing is over?
Well, that's hard to say, Dave. You know, it's the type of trip that you don't know until you get into it. I mean, there are some positives. They're all in the same time zone except the last game in St. Louis. They're all hour-long flights. You know, I think if we manage the fatigue stuff and nutrition properly, we should be competitive, and we probably will know more about our team when it's all over. But we know quite a bit about our team now, and I think when we get Cassian back in the lineup and we get Burrows back in the lineup and Jordan Schrader's ready to play, I think that's when we'll actually know a lot more about our team. And that'll be around the 20-25 game mark that I think we'll see our full team most likely together for the first time, hopefully, if we don't have other injuries, and then we'll have a much clearer picture of where we stand.
Mike Gillis from the Vancouver Canucks. Thanks for joining us today, Mike.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Talk to you, Mike.
All right. Wow, Devils, Canucks.
Yeah.
Luongo, Schneider. Who's winning the poll? What's happening?
Well,
who's the love? Where's the love?
Who do you love? Roberto Luongo's got 67% of the vote, which is not surprising, but that was one of the toughest decisions. Don't kid yourself. Listening to Mike Gillis, the decision that was made, the fact that they had to sit on it for a day or so. They've been talking to New Jersey for a couple of days, 48, 72 hours, whatever it is. Get the deal done. They know that Luongo is going to be emotionally shook up by this because he'd already packed his emotional bags. They send down the owner down to talk to Luongo, and I mean, literally, he walks into his living room about 5 minutes before the announcement comes down. New Jersey had requested that this deal be off the books because they were trying to sell tickets because they were hosting the draft, and suddenly they don't have a first-round pick anymore. So all of this is done, undercover, last-second stuff. I mean, this is James Bond stuff. You know what I mean? It was bizarre. I've never seen a deal like this ever go down. This town was just rocked by that deal because Schneider had clearly proven himself to be the starting goaltender. And as I said before, the real issue here is where it goes from here. Yes, they are in the same situation as Mike Gillis said before, that they have Roberto Luongo and then a young backup in Eddie Lack. The difference is that Luongo is now 34 years old. So you've burned off a bunch of years. This was supposed to be a transition as Schneider took over, the same way that he's doing in New Jersey as Marty Brodeur is walking away. So there's a lot of stuff that went into that. And we're going to see it all on display tonight. The one thing that is really, really impressive about this, Roberto Luongo had the maturity, and I don't know if that would have been true 10 years ago, but had the maturity to stay off of social media, didn't react, didn't go public, didn't chirp, didn't do anything.
He was off the grid, man.
He did. For 7 or 8 weeks, he just got his emotions in check, got his head straight, came back, and again, he's doing the one thing that he has done incredibly well over the last 2 years. He's been a great teammate, and you're going to see that tonight.
Well, let's hope he completes the task.
Yes.
And we'll see what happens there tonight.
All right, there's the poll question. Who do you love, Roberto Luongo or Corey Schneider? It is our Craftsman Collision poll question. As always, Craftsman Collision, winner of the Georgia Strait Best of Vancouver Award 6 years in a row. Air miles, bigger smiles.
Schneider and Luongo. Who do you love?
The BroJake Show is brought to you by K&B Chartered Accountants.